Whoosh. Peggy Morrison is our feature of the evening, a well regarded California writer who grew up in Long Beach, then raised her daughter, Kima, in Watsonville while working as a bilingual teacher. Much praise for that. I'm a longtime teacher. She now lives and works in the San Francisco Bay Area. Her poetry is published in journals and anthologies, including Plants and Poetry, Colossus, Home, The Town, Cloud Woman Quarterly, Pocology, Naked Bulb, Be About It, Zine, and the Kistrich and anthologies, musings during a time of pandemic and coming out of isolation. She's the co-editor of the anthologies Day Without Art and Colossus, Body. She has been honored as a featured reader in international poetry festivals in Cuba and Kenya. Her poetry chapbook, Mom Says 2020, celebrates voice as a living embodiment of culture and history. When not reading or writing poetry, Peggy might be found tending her vegetable gardens. Kudos for that. Hiking in the redwoods or dancing. A wonderful voice, a powerful person who has perspective on the world and many of its important aspects.
Thank you, Dan. Thanks for this image. Thanks for the wonderful introduction. And thank you for the opportunity to read Sacred Grounds Community. I can't forget that probably at this moment, the US is sending weapons to the Israeli government to kill Palestinians. And at the same time, I have this opportunity to share poetry with you. And thank you. And Dan, thank you for organizing and for the suggestions, your apt suggestions about what to include in my feature. So Dan said include 3 poems about yourself. So I'm going to begin by reading a few pages from my book, Mom Says. And I'm going to read from the section called Common Sense. Once and for all, how time flies. Water under the bridge. What else is new? It's not set in stone. Let's get this show on the road. When Mom says, let's get this show on the road, we're getting ready for church on Sunday morning. She is wearing a blue flowered dress. Dad has been running the car at the curb in front of the house for a few minutes, and he keeps honking. Meanwhile, we are all in the living room, bedrooms, bathroom, brushing teeth, getting our white lace-edged socks on, getting our hair brushed and Tommy's hair combed. Mom has a bead of sweat on her upper lip as she pins on our triangular lace mantillas, and she wipes off the sweat with the back of her hand as she swipes on her lipstick. Barbie grabs her thin white cardigan and is buttoning it on, and I fasten the little blue corduroy coat on Reenie. Mom is pushing her heels into her black pumps, and she looks quick at the mirror to fix her blue felt pillbox hat and pull down the little veil in the front of it. She gives us the look, and we hear the motor, and as the car honks again, we walk across the lawn towards Dad with his elbow hanging out the car window, and grabbing all our hands, Mom says, let's get this show on the road. Just plain stupid. Just plain nuts. Running around like a chicken with its head cut off. You'd lose your head if it wasn't attached to your neck. Plain and simple. Common sense. It's not going to kill you. What you don't know won't hurt you. I'll give you something to cry about. And for this next poem, I have a prop. You'll understand it in a minute. When mom says, I'll give you something to cry about, it is after her day of work at the Air Force Base. And we are in our low rent clapboard house where we live alone without our dad. She picked us up from our respective babysitters, and she is in the kitchen making dinner. And my little sister Barbara and I are in the dining room, kneeling on the floor in front of the cabinet where we keep our Barbie dolls. And we are dressing the dolls and playing they do things together like, let's go shopping, or we are going to church. We choose and set out the outfits, and we each dress our doll. We both grab for the same tiny coat, and I pull it out of her hand, and she hits me, and I hit her back, and suddenly my sister is screaming bloody murder. My mom comes out of the kitchen with a wooden spoon in her hand and says, Peggy Ann, you leave your sister alone. I say, she hit me first. And mom leans in, raises her arm as if to slap me with the spoon, and says, you two get along, or I'll give you both something to cry about. You'll get through it. I'm rooting for you. Dirtied his diaper, set the stain, scrubbing the floor on the hands and knees. Beauty must suffer. When my mom says beauty must suffer, we're in the kitchen. I am standing squished between the washer and the ironing board, with my head leaning into my mom's soft chest. She is ironing my dad's white dress shirt with a starched collar and tiny buttons, and she is stopping for a quick minute to braid my waist-length hair. It is about 7:30 a.m., and sunlight comes in the window over the kitchen sink. My mom is pulling each braid tight to catch up the wispy hairs near my temple, so tight that she bends my neck and my eyes are pulled into slits. So I cry, ouch, it hurts, stop it. And my mom says, beauty must suffer. So Dan's next thought was include 3 poems that audiences have liked or that I like. So I want to share a poem called Circumambulation. Circumambulation of Mount Tam, June 22nd, 22, after Gary Snyder. I wanted to share this because I think some of you are probably familiar with Mount Tam, and because it is spring, almost June. Solstice ritual. Circle of the seasons. Circle the mountain. Seeking balance. The mountain ballast. Starting from Mountain Inn uphill on gravity car grade, then towards Double Bowl, feel lost, asking bicyclists and graybeard hikers, passing elegant madrone, lizard flash, now walking on Hokiko Fire Road, looking for Wheeler Trail to take off to the left. On the dry side of the mountain, ocean in sight, wind comes up, blowing off my brim cap. Redwood Grove, tucked into the fold of the mountain, my first stop, trickling stream. I read Gary Snyder's poem aloud with intent of meditation. I've only walked 2.7 miles. I still have 9 miles to go. It will be a long day, but here I go uphill. I will be tired by the end of this, but I know I can do it. With long hours of daylight ahead, switchbacks uphill in redwood shade, white rocks shaped to staircase, tangled bright sword ferns carpeting the hillside. Then out of the redwoods into sun again. brown dirt path, madrone and live oak, tan oak, monkey flower, manzanita, camouflage gray-brown grasshopper, scratchy branches touch my forearms, hope they're not poisonous. Chaparral is tinder, leaves shining with oils, curious. I touch dry, stiff, olive green moss on bay trunks. Up gravelly eldridge grades, sweat wets my hatband, sweat dripping down my temples. Reaching the north side trail, a flat, wide path in shade. Then it narrows to a contour trail, ground covered with dry brown live oak leaves. June 22nd, and dry leaves float in the breeze as if it were autumn. Second stop, in Douglas fir and bay shade, in a fold where once there was water. No distance views. A skinny woman in track shorts passes me as I sit down to lunch. The next redwood grove and a plank-built bridge at Collier Springs. I still to hear just the smallest high hum of water coming out of a 6-inch PVC pipe. I stay on the north side trail of the junction. A wooden bridge says Troop 101, 1998. A flash of ferns. I keep checking my clock. 6 miles in 3 hours, 3 more hours to go. Just before rifle camp, back into Manzanita, the berries pale orange. Circumnavigating the mountain, humbly counterclockwise. The mountains to my left, little birds twittering in the bay trees. So quiet, these wooden bushes. One slanted over a ravine makes enough space for a roaring stream, but it's quiet. Magical city floating in mist. Then, green serpentine outcropping along meadows edged clumps of delicate green grass with pale tiny seeds. Lesson for today. I got impatient and I persevered. At a bridge in a green shade gully, I hear the gentle, constant sound of gurgling water. Finally, as I walk down the Nora Trail, a flowing stream to my left, it's become overcast. Last junction, right turn off the Matt Davis Trail onto Hogback Fire Road. I see the car below as I walk downhill. That was a long hike. The next one I want to share comes with a warning. It's about a difficult topic about mental illness. And I'm going to read it because a friend suggested that she would like to hear me read it. The Boy on the Steps. 1. It's in 6 parts. 1. Thinking it's a delivery, I run to open the door. In the twilight, I see a boy, a rangy teenager, backing down the steep concrete stairs. A stranger. Can I help you? I'm a hazard, he says, framed against the streetlights coming on and the stucco apartments across the street. I'm a hazard wherever I am, anywhere I am. When the electricity goes through me, he says, it changes me. I have superpowers. It is winter sunset cold. He wears only a t-shirt, his hair unkempt, his voice soft. Though he is taller than me, I feel him young, feel his confusion. He tells me his name is Joshua. Wait just a minute, I say. I need to go inside and get a sweatshirt. It's so cold. 2. Unlocking and locking the door in and out. I grab my black sweatshirt for me and my green one for him, my green one for gardening. He meets my eyes, says, "It's my favorite color." "Mine too," I say. When I get back with the sweatshirts, he has placed the chair exactly in the middle of the driveway. I ask, "Do you need to get home?" He looks down at his moving hands, the driveway cement, the yellow peeled paint chair discarded from my garden. He tells me, "I got kicked out of the group home when I turned 19. I guess, I guess I'm homeless now." Looks up into my face. I ask, "Can I help you find someone? Can I help you call someone?" I don't see a cell phone, though he clutches a laptop and a 5-pound metal weight. Joshua answers, "Maybe you can call Officer Franklin. Officer Franklin said he would make sure it was a misdemeanor so I don't get locked up." As he talks, images flash across my mind. Shots fired when police call. I don't call 911. 3. I stand close to Joshua and feel the presence of Mark. My young nephew bought a gun, shot himself because he was afraid the voices would make him hurt others. Old pain, suddenly fresh. I relive being in the room the night Mark's housemate called us to come, a year before his death, when Mark said, "Please let me try to figure it out. If they drug me, I won't be able to find myself." Being with him was like being with my dad in his psychotic break, like being with Joshua right now. Across the gap of twilight, the disorienting shimmer of Joshua's fear and vulnerability, I would recognize it anywhere. "Can I call your family?" I say. 4. His mom's number. Her name is Dahlia. She answers. I explain. She apologizes. I say, "No need." He seems confused. I want to help him. I put the phone in his hand. Watch. Hear her scold him for wandering off and getting high. He flashes anger and hangs up. I take the phone and call back. She apologizes. I say, "I want to help him." She says he was supposed to be at a friend's house. I ask if she wants to come and pick him up, and she says, "I had a couple of glasses of wine. I can't come now. I have 2 younger kids in the house." He's diagnosed with schizoaffective disorder. He scares them sometimes. We arranged. He's supposed to stay with a friend for the weekend. I give Joshua the phone again. She says she's sorry for saying he was high. I hear him say, "I love you, Mom." He gives me the address and I call the lift. I ask him to wait for me again while I go inside to get a mask for him. 5. When I come back, the empty chair is in the driveway, right in the middle. He is standing in the shadow of the neighbor's wall. He sits down again and tells me that he's autistic on the spectrum, not schizophrenic like his mom said. A tall, tousled black boy in my hoodie, fiddling with a metal weight. I wonder if the driver will fear him. I look at the driver's picture on the app, a brown-skinned man in his 30s perhaps. I wait for the car with Joshua. 6. When they've made the U-turn and drive off, I call his mom back to follow up, and she cries on the phone saying, "Sorry to bother you." And I say, I know he needed help. I wanted to help him. I listened to Dahlia's tears. She says, he needs help. I try, but I don't know how to help him. It's been going on for so long. I say, I know. I know he needs help. I know you love your son. I know it's hard. You can never give up on your son. I stay on the phone. I cry with her. I can't forget that. That's something that Joshua came to my door. I think it was 2 years ago, but I can't forget it. Um, so I'm going to finish with two short poems. And the first one is this. Let me move like a tide come in. Waves roll up the beach. Foam edges, each with their weight of water. Layered patterns move, then dissolve and disappear into gray sand. Lines meet and reshape. Arcs, triangles, sails. Offshore, layered wave horizons, chameleon-like in peripheral vision, echo and pulse, constant backdrop, reflect clouded sky. Just there, a black mountain, wet from the spray, solid and still, my feet in cold salt water, my small steps at ocean's edge. Gulls cry, my face moist, my hair blowing. I feel transparent, elemental. I walk in this landscape, part of it, small, without boundary, inside tide, finding tide inside. And I'm going to end with a nod to the theme of music in the air. I'm going to read a poem about birds, and it's one that is in this anthology, The Town, published in 2023. Birds here, flying here, floating, soaring, singing here. I saw last Thursday from the asphalt point, seagulls above me, holding stillness into a strong headwind. I thought they looked willful. You said they seemed to be playing in the air. Birds here, colors iridescent, small twittering birds, pecking and swirling, eating green leaves, water birds, graceful in silhouette, their feet in mud. Birds here, thankful for birds here. Thoughts rise airborne, with blue jay flash and chatter, with crows cawing, conversation from tree to tree. My thoughts follow, flying up to where they are. Redwood, there, eucalyptus.
Here.
Beautiful, beautiful.
Very moving.
Yeah.
Lovely. Thank you.
Very powerful pieces, that last set. Huge, just incredible. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everybody, for the opportunity, for listening, for the opportunity to share with you.
Wow.
Yes,
Thumbs up.
yes.
Very emotional and impactful, says Jeff. Gorgeous reading. That's from Norma. And Karen Pierce had a nice comment as well. Beautiful work. Thank you so very much.